I was boy sober for almost a year, which means I didn't date, I didn't have sex, I didn't do anything like that. And it was amazing. And it has made me at least 1,000 times more confident. And no script, no outline. I'm just going to tell you all about that experience. Like, I have no idea where this conversation is going to go because I'm also this close, like this close to getting my period right now. So my brain is all over the place. But I recently started dating again, which, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe because one of my next videos is going to be about how I started dating again after almost a year, and it's going amazing. But we need to talk about this. Like, it's been almost a year that I haven't been dating, that I didn't have sex, which is the longest I've gone since I think I started having sex, which is like my late teens. And I learned so much during this time about self confidence and what I want in a relationship and decentering men and body confidence, and so much that I can't even describe came up in this time in my life. And I feel amazing. I feel incredible. And now I'm dating again and I feel so incredible doing that. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about like what was going on in my life at that time when I went boy sober, which is my fun way of just saying again that I decentered men, stopped dating, stopped having sex, and what I gained from it. There's some noise in the background. I'm in Bali, which is where I live, if you didn't know that already. I'm Sarah. I'm a body image and confidence coach for women. So I talk about this kind of stuff a lot. But there's a little bit of construction around, and I forgot my little microphone, so I hope you can hear me okay. If there's anything that you can't hear, just leave a comment and I'll answer a question. But long story short, I went boy sober almost a year ago, and it wasn't intentional, but then when I kind of realized what was happening, I fully stepped into it, and then it became intentional, and it was incredible. But long story short, around March or April of last year, which is 1 year ago now, I was going through a couple key things that kind of just made me realize that something in my life needed to shift. So the first thing was I actually went through a really messy, chaotic friendship breakup. There was someone that was in my life who we had a very codependent friendship, which I have a history of codependency in friendships. And I had been trying to get myself out of this codependent relationship for a long time, but breaking cycles is really hard. And I honestly didn't handle it the best, and neither did they. And it kind of just blew up in my face. Like, this best friendship that I was supposed to be in had been unhealthy, toxic, if you will, for a long time. And I had known for a long time that it really didn't feel good, but I didn't have the ability to end that friendship. I felt like it said something about me if the friendship ended, like I wasn't good enough as a friend, or I wasn't good enough to be able to fix it. It felt like it was my duty to be able to fix both my codependency and that person's codependency and all of our triggers that we brought out in each other, even though that's obviously not my responsibility to take care of another person. And I just, like, I couldn't leave this friendship for such a long time. And then, long story short, they got triggered, lashed out at me. It was really hurtful, and I just cried the whole time. And I won't go into the details of that for their privacy and mine, but that friendship kind of crashed and burned a lot later than it should have gradually ended. And that's not common for me to have like something so chaotic, so traumatic, essentially, and emotional, and like to feel like I have like bad blood with someone at this stage in my life after doing so much self-confidence work. Having beef with someone is just like not my style. Having drama is just like not a thing that happens to me much anymore. And so when I had that drama in my life, when I had all of these negative emotions towards a person who had hurt me and I had hurt, that was the first flag in my mind that something was out of alignment, something wasn't right. The second thing that happened is that I had a very casual, very short-term physical relationship with somebody who, number one, raised a lot of alarm bells and red flags when I first met them, and then I still engaged in this relationship. And number two, when I tried to exit the relationship, just was really unkind, inconsiderate, and hurtful towards me. And that was the second thing that flagged my attention, that something needed to shift in how I was living my life. Because in the beginning of meeting them, I again disregarded some alarm bells and disrespected myself and my values and my needs in that way. And then I also was letting someone who didn't treat me well and therefore is not the kind of person I wanted in my life, I was letting them in and then letting them hurt me. And so in my relationships, in friendship, and my relationships in romance or sex or wherever those overlap in your life, I had some shit going on, and I just felt like I don't want this anymore. Like, I don't want to gossip anymore. I don't want to have bad blood with anyone. I don't want to date guys that make me feel like shit. I don't want any of this. And I also at this time had really amazing friends, and I had some really amazing dating experiences before that. So I kind of had the perspective of like, this isn't all that's out there for me, which for a long time I had really bad relationships when I was younger. I was, not the healthiest person myself. And then I also didn't have high self-esteem. So other people didn't treat me great. But I've worked so hard. I'm literally a body image and confidence coach. Like, I've come really far in my own experience. And I don't have relationships like this anymore. So when both of those happened within, I think, 2 weeks of each other, I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, what in the universe is going on? Something needs to change. This isn't right. So although I didn't acknowledge at the time, like, I'm going boy sober, I wasn't like, F this, F making new friends, F dating. Like, it was not that at all. It wasn't like I hate men. I went through that phase a long time ago. I don't hate men anymore, which is a huge accomplishment for me. I'm not afraid of them anymore either, which is so insane, but that's a whole other video. I worked really hard for that one. But still, I was like, why is this happening? Something needs to change. And so what I realized in both of those scenarios, the friendship breakup and the shitty guy I dated, didn't even date, but had a whatever with, I was giving other people too much power over my perception of myself and my self-worth, and then also over the validation of my emotions. So like in that friendship breakup, I felt so unseen, so unheard. This person didn't understand me. This person didn't want to see it from my perspective. I had all of these stories, right? But I also wasn't really showing up for myself in that situation. I wasn't sticking up for myself. I wasn't making hard decisions. I wasn't having hard conversations because I was people pleasing and I was afraid of what the other person was going to do or say. They were a bit emotionally volatile with me sometimes. And so I was like, if I speak how I'm feeling, they're going to freak out. They're going to cry. They're going to tell me I'm a bad friend. All these things that had happened. And yeah, it just didn't feel good. And then in that, let's call it a situationship for lack of a better word, even though it was like such a blip on my radar, it was literally so short term. And I knew from the start this wasn't a person that was in alignment with what I want. So why did I even engage? But anyway, we'll get there. With this situationship, for lack of a better term, it was the same kind of thing where I was like, I'm not treating myself the way that I deserve to be treated, and therefore they aren't either. And so when those two things happened within a month of each other, around March, April, maybe even May of last year, about a year ago now, I was like, okay, if these people are treating me like this, I need to treat myself better. Because if I treat myself better, I won't tolerate this shit, right? And so that's what I did. So subconsciously, before I knew it, it had been like maybe it was 3 months, and then it was 5 months, and then it was 6 months. I was like, oh my God, half a year. And then it was 9 months, and then it was 10 and a half, and then I finally had sex and started dating again. But I kept hitting these like marks of time where I was like, it's been longer and longer. I'm not dating, I'm not having sex, and I'm not spending time with people who don't make me feel good, friendships or relationships. And I feel really great. And I don't feel like I'm missing something. And I don't feel lonely. And I don't feel like there's a hole in my life. Like I don't have free time because I'm filling my life with so much good stuff and so much good people. And that was mind-blowing for me, because I feel like there's this misconception that if you're not having sex regularly, especially as a younger person, if you're not having sex or you're not dating or both, that there's something wrong, right? And the thing that I realized as someone who loves sex and loves relationships, loves connecting with people, and loves learning and growing, and dating is such a challenge in that way, and so is friendship, there wasn't something wrong, there was actually something so right. And the reason that being boy sober. But really what that is code for is no longer being in relationships of any form that make me feel like shit about myself, and even relationships with yourself in that way. That was me getting more comfortable spending time alone, and therefore sitting with my own emotions, not needing someone else to validate me and tell me, like, yeah, how I treated you was bad, or yeah, you made this mistake, but it's okay. Like, I didn't need that validation from anyone anymore. Spending more time alone, sitting in that discomfort, self-validating my own emotions. And I got so much more confident in the process because I sat in that discomfort and proved to myself that I could do that, which discomfort is uncomfy. I spent those nights alone when I really just wanted to hop on Hinge and text a random person just to have a notification on my phone. I resisted. And even if I gave in sometimes, I resisted the next time, and that felt good. Like, when I felt tempted to just like spend time with someone who didn't really fulfill me just to not be alone, I resisted and I went to the sunset alone and I read more books and I worked harder on my business and I went to the gym more and I grocery shopped and I did all of these things that were really good for me. And I basically showed myself over and over again over the course of these months in tiny micro moments, not in this big epiphany, because again, it was never that. It was never intentional. It was never this one big thing. In all of these micro moments, I just showed myself, like, I deserve to feel good. I deserve to be respected. I deserve to surround myself with people who make me feel good. And number one, I should be one of those people to myself. And number two, it's quality over quantity. Like, if there are people in your life who you leave them and you feel drained, those are not your people, or at least the relationship dynamic you have maybe needs to shift. Like, how much do you give? Do you people please? Are you a perfectionist in how you show up as a friend? I have a lot of clients who I catch them trying to be a perfect friend and they're trying to manage someone else's emotions. And I have to say, like, taking up space or being an imperfect human is part of being a friend. Like, it's okay if you're not the perfect friend all the time. But I was doing all these things and I was kind of just driving myself crazy and then ending up in relationship dynamics that were really unfulfilling for me. So I spent that time alone. I have my notes. I sat in discomfort. I decentered men. Oh my God, like, mind blowing. Again, not even on purpose, and I had heard that phrase before, but if you're unfamiliar, decentering men is basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is removing men, and maybe men is literally like a man, but maybe it's also patriarchy or just like male validation or male opinions or beauty standards that are really rooted in patriarchy or in like male approval. Decentering those from how you make decisions, how you live your life, how you see yourself. The amount of times I told people, like, yeah, I'm not dating right now, and they just like couldn't even fathom how I was confident and comfortable in my singleness as a woman. Like, I literally said to someone once, I was like, no, I'm not dating right now. Like, I'm really, really chill and single. And they go, what, are you traumatized or something? A person I had literally met one time said that to me. And it was annoying and so inappropriate, but also like just shows how uncommon it is to A, be comfortable in your singleness, and B, to decenter men as a woman, especially a single woman. But decentering men, making decisions based on what I want to do, wearing what I want, not what I think other people will think is sexy, not thinking about what I eat or how I work out or where I go or how I talk or how loud I am or how much of myself I show, not dimming my light, dumbing myself down to get the approval of others, especially men. Life-changing. Now that I've started dating again, and I'll make another video about this later because it's a whole other topic on its own and I'm so excited to talk about it. It is insane how much I attract the right people for me now that I'm actually fully showing up as myself. Like, and that is one of the major confidence boosts from being boy sober, is like, I spent time alone and then also just with myself. And I was already really confident, but I got so much more confident in who I am, not even just what I look like, but who I am. Like, we went 100 levels deeper than I even knew was possible on that. And now I just am so much more myself in every moment of my life. And since I started dating again, the quality that I'm attracting, I literally thought didn't exist in this world anymore. Yeah. Uh-huh. Insane. Decenter men. Decenter men. It's not an F men thing. It's not fuck them. It's just, you are so, literally, it's so cliche, but like, you're so whole on your own. There's a very specific hole in you that men can fill, but we can survive without it, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I optimized my life in this time. Like, I had so much more time and also mental energy to spend on myself, and therefore just like funneled back into the confidence of like, I am someone that deserves to feel good and do things for myself that make me feel good. And so that was incredible. So that was the last 10 and a half months. Honestly, the hardest parts, there was two hardest parts. One of them was everyone else's opinions, which I already mentioned a little, but even like some of my closest friends, they'd be like, you just need to get laid. And I'm like, yeah, that's fun sometimes, but it's not what I'm looking for. And also like the assumption that I'm incomplete, or that just fixes your problems, or that's where my problems are coming from, is just like so inaccurate. Other people's opinions got really annoying because people would project their shit onto me all the time of like, aren't you worried you'll turn 30 and you'll still be single? I'm like, it's 4 years from now. 30 is relatively young. And also, no, I'm not worried about staying in the wrong relationships just so that I'm not alone. No, I'm not worried about that. But people would project their shit onto me all the time, like, because it's so unfathomable that you can be confident in your singleness and actually be, like, again, not from that fuck men attitude. I went through that phase. It doesn't feel good to hate a whole group of people when you actually want their love as well. Fortunately, I don't date chicks, so maybe that would have been a different story. But, oh, yeah. Other people's opinions were really frustrating. And I love curiosity. I love questions. Like, people would ask me, but you can tell when there's judgment behind it as well. And releasing judgment both towards myself for being boy sober and then also towards other people for projecting their shit, that was a big test in this process. That was a huge, huge test. The other hardest part, honestly, was spending a lot of time alone, and physically alone, but also like mentally alone, if that makes sense, like sitting with myself and being like the loneliness, I suppose. And it honestly didn't come out that much because I'm a pretty independent person, not in the way that's like I don't need anyone. I love relying on people. I used to never ask for help, so it feels awesome to ask for help now. But there were nights where like all my friends were busy, or they were with, like, some of them are in relationships, they were with their partners, or like my friends would start dating someone new and I would be a little bit jealous because I wanted that too, or they'd have like a really crazy one night stand and I'd be like, a part of me feels like that's what I should be doing, but in reality I knew in my intuition that that's not what I wanted at all. And so overall, if you have been in a period of celibacy, or you're feeling defeated with dating, or maybe you're taking a really empowered approach like me where it's like, nah, I'm just kind of, dating's been crowded out of my priorities because I'm focusing on myself, know that the discomfort, whether it's other people's opinions or not knowing what the future holds or how long it's going to last, or sitting in loneliness or sitting in other uncomfortable emotions that come up, sitting in discomfort is a skill that you need to have in order to grow and move forward. And so sitting in that discomfort made me so strong and so empowered, and so like I think that's the main source of the confidence. Is it's almost like a Snapchat streak where I'm like, can I keep this going for one more day? And it's not like in a way that I can't break this streak. It's more just like, I guess it's like a snowball, like rolling down a hill. Like the more it rolls, the bigger it gets, the more momentum it picks up. And that's how it felt for me for the last 10 and a half months, almost a year. And in that time, I freed up so much space to reflect on that friendship breakup. I've done so much thinking about that, learned my lessons, both about what I want in friendships and who I want to be in friendships. And then in dating as well. It wasn't, again, like, I love men, but I just really didn't want to have to deal with them for about a year. And coming back into it, like, I learned so much about my own values and what makes me feel good in this time. And therefore, coming back into dating over the last like month or so, it's such an intentional decision. I'm so clear I have realistic but serious standards. I know what I want, which is not something casual and it's not something unfulfilling. And I'm approaching dating now as this like perspective of how can someone add to my life? Like I've filled my life so beautifully. I am genuinely so freaking happy every day. I run a business. I have amazing clients who inspire me every day, which if you want to be one of them, holla. There's always a link in my descriptions. I have amazing friends. I have adventures. I live in Bali. Like, I'm taking care of my physical and mental health. I had a lot of chronic illness problems in 2024. And then my mental health is just, I mean, killer, but something that I'm always working on and nourishing. And once all of that was so freaking good, instead of being afraid of like ruining it, I was actually so ready to start considering adding someone to it. Like I want to share that with someone. I want to build more of this with someone and I want to co-create with someone. And now I'm stepping into dating with standards that are sky high. And again, like I said before, the quality that I'm attracting, I was so afraid that if I raised my standards, there wouldn't be any options left. Girl, that's a lie they tell us. That is a fucking lie they tell us. There are so many amazing people out there. I've gone on so many dates lately. It's been so fun. I've met so many people that like I probably won't see again in a romantic perspective, but I've met so many amazing people who have taught me something about the world or about them or about myself and what I want from all over the place and made some new friends. I've had some challenging moments with people that I'm really into, some challenging moments with people that are really into me. And it's like a whole new perspective, a whole new game. So this isn't really a video about how I didn't have sex for 10 months, because to be honest, that's like the least significant part of it. This is a video, this is a story, an experience about how coming so much closer to yourself and with yourself for 10 and a half months completely changes how you see yourself, how you see dating, how you see friendships, and how you carry yourself and take care of yourself throughout your life. And I'm so grateful. It's been so amazing. And I hope this reaches the people in the world who are exhausted from dating or have been going on the celibacy streak for a long time and are maybe worried that they're not going to ever break it if that's what you want. There's so much hope out there. There's so many amazing people. The next video I make is going to be about my dating strategy because it kicks ass. And if that's what you want, even just to make new friends, I need to do a video about making new friends too. That's also on the list. Yeah, I have so much to say about that too. It's so much amazing stuff, but it's okay to feel alone and lonely sometimes. It is so freaking worth it in situations like this where you will learn so much about yourself. And when you intentionally choose to come back into the dating game, the friendship game, the career game, whatever it is that you're putting your energy into, knowing who you are and feeling confident in who you are is a total game changer. So I'm Sarah. I'm a body image and confidence coach. I post videos like this every week about what's going on in my life, how I'm practicing what I preach, and I also take new clients every quarter. So if you want to reach out to me and talk about life coaching, what I can help you with, I have a bunch of free resources. I have courses, but my favorite thing to do is my one-on-one coaching, and I always put a link about that in the description of the video. Again, in the next couple weeks, we'll have videos on making friends in a new country and on dating again and my specific dating strategies that have really distinguished me in the game and put me on really good dates and taught me some really amazing lessons. But yeah, you're going to be with yourself for your entire life. So you might as well be your best partner and be your best friend. And then when you do that, all of the other relationships you have in your life fall into place. So that's what I'll leave you with this week. I love you. I'll talk to you next time.